If you have come here this morning hoping for an optimistic take on what happened yesterday, you've come to the right place. Outside of the macro, which was down yesterday pretty significantly, Tesla's stock is looking like it will trade about 7% down between yesterday and today. That's over on top of the macro. Might be more, might be less, but this is not a shocking hit with misses on the top and bottom line. Bond yields are almost at 5%, and that's keeping a lid on the bull for today so far, but Trueflation keeps heading down. It's now at 2.25, another 0.05 down. So it normally takes about 2 weeks for folks to understand about Elon Musk's transparency. We'll talk about that more later. That's a positive and that the company is still amazing. It might happen faster this time as I'm seeing a lot of positive sentiment. We'll show some of that below as well. In fact, early trading is kind of moving a little bit in a positive direction. The bull market seems to be so resilient that it's blowing off high yields, seems to be looking for direction in this first 10 minutes this morning. And then there's always Chairman Powell's speech to worry about. I think it's going to be a very interesting day. So this is Randy Kirk. You know what to do. You hit the like button because you want to help the channel. You hit subscribe, you hit notify. This is going to be a phenomenal episode, but I got to tell you, the episode you want to see is the one that's coming up today around 11 o'clock. It's already in the can, being edited right now. This is a very, very important episode. Don't miss this one. I've already posted it on Patreon. If you want to see it sooner, you can go up and take your 7-day free trial and check that out. I'm going to go into all aspects of the call from Elon yesterday that are not being covered by anyone else. No, I'm serious. I've listened and listened and listened. I've looked at article after article after article. People are missing the real big news in the call yesterday, and you're going to want to watch that show later today in order to find out what everybody is missing. As I mentioned, Chairman Powell will speak at 12 o'clock EDT today. I will, of course, be listening to that, and I will report as necessary, probably later in the day. All right. Okay, the Tesla call yesterday was on balance actually quite bullish. I mean, really, really bullish. I mean, not just a tiny bit bullish, it was massively bullish. And that's just not the optimist Randy Kirk being Pollyannish. I'm putting up a list on Patreon that was going to show all the positives, lists of positives, and just a few negatives. What were the negatives? We already know the negatives. They missed on the top, they missed on the bottom, they missed on the margins. But there's so much more to know than that. In fact, let's just see, I'm not all by myself. So here's Gary Black. I personally thought the call was okay, and we still love Tesla stock. I appreciate the transparency by Elon and his team to explain the challenges ahead. That's what I keep saying. He's telling it like it really is, not like most CEOs do. Yes, his mood could have been a little bit stronger. He could have been a little more upbeat. He could have, but he's not me, okay? He's Elon. All right, sometimes he's got the Eeyore going on. So, Gary Black goes on to say, I still think relying on price cuts rather than advertising is a mistake when the average person is clueless about how easy Teslas are to charge and how inexpensive they become. But I'm excited that Tesla is starting to advertise. Cybertruck deliveries will be a huge catalyst. I continue to believe Tesla 2024 volumes and earnings will beat consensus estimates, and his Tesla price target remains at 300. Of course, mine over the is way beyond 300. We're still going to go to the all-time high in January. We're not going to get to 300 this month, unfortunately. That miss blew that off the table. Sorry. That's what I keep saying to you guys that are complaining about me setting these targets. News can always change the targets. If you set goals and there is something new that comes in, you have to change your goals. That is a life lesson. If you haven't learned that life lesson yet, and almost everybody that listens to this channel is old enough that you should have learned that life lessons. All right, so I'm saying we probably get back to 265, 275 by the end of the month. That's going to depend on the bull. I think the bull is going to be fine, but who knows? There's so many, got wars and rumors of wars. All right. But But for instance, for me, I got 3 of my wishes yesterday. I got the confirmation of the 1.8 for this year, 1.8 million. I got confirmation of the 50% average growth year over year, starting in 2020 numbers of 500,000. We got the handover date for the Cybertruck. So I only had 2 wishes that weren't met, and that was margins and profits. But those are transitory. Those are just report cards for the 3rd quarter. We will have a new report card for the 4th quarter, and it will be substantially better. So that's all absolutely huge. You're going to see that this is going to be a really big 2024. In a continuing show of economic strength, the initial jobless claims came in less than expected at 198,000. I think that's the lowest number in a while, under 200,000. All right. Okay, everything right now in the macro is all about the bond yields, primarily the 10-year. Can these go over 5%? Yes, of course they can. They have been there many times before, and sometimes for many, many years for years and years and years, way above 5%. But what we're sitting with right now is that with inflation truly at about 2%, maybe 2.5, somewhere in that range, 5% is just too juicy. So this is double the normal rate that folks look for, the true rate or the true interest rate. So they're just situations when an asset gets too cheap, meaning the bonds themselves are too cheap, or sometimes things get too expensive. But right now the bonds are too cheap. And then there's always eager cash. Piles and piles of eager cash sitting on the sideline waiting to take advantage. In this particular case, the locking in yields and taking a small risk if yields go even a little bit higher with the underlying bond going lower, that's a low risk. And there's a huge potential, huge opportunity to cash in on the bonds when they go up, and still hold on, if you prefer, to a 5% roughly interest rate. That's not investment advice, but I have never bought bonds in my life, and I am sorely tempted. What does that say? From Morningstar, the Philadelphia Fed said Thursday that the gauge of regional business activity remained in contractionary territory for the second straight month. So this is the Philadelphia area, okay? The index improved 5 points, but remained at a -9. This is the index 15th negative reading in the past 17 months. Economists polled by the Wall Street Journal expected a -6.8 reading, but we got a -9. Readings below 0, of course, indicate deteriorating conditions. Key details. The subcomponents of the index were stronger than the headline. The barometer of new orders increased 14.6 points to reach a positive 4.4. The shipments index rose 14 points to 10.8. The measure on 6-month business outlook edged down to 9.2 to 11.1, but that's still positive. And the employment index turned positive and prices increased. So actually, seemed rather like a positive report to me. All right, from Sawyer Merritt. So now I'm going to go through some of these various pundits or analysts and what they said. So this is from Sawyer Merritt. Concord Genuity, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Genuity, had lowered their Tesla price target to 267 from 293, keeping their buy rating, though, based on the tone of the call. He says, it didn't have the same zip. A lot of talk about rising interest rates, a tough Cybertruck production slog ahead, and future cost reductions. That would be like digging a tunnel with a spoon. It was a little drab. See, we await Tesla earnings calls with a sense of excitement and suspense, and they usually deliver, but not Wednesday night. We suppose management's tone reflected the world's current mood, sober, looking to understand what is next. The discussion certainly offered several interesting tidbits. FSD details, a November Cybertruck launch events, an energy storage business that keeps rocking. Our long-term view remains that Tesla our long-term view is unwavering. As a matter of fact, it's been enhanced by the UAW strike, past press reports around a new gigacasting technology, and an Optimus robot that appears to be coming alive. Nevertheless, we cannot dismiss management's message that we must await new products and revenue drivers. The company is managing through a difficult environment with rising rates and geopolitical twists. We are lowering our estimates to reflect more gradual margin improvements and a slightly subdued unit growth through 2025. We are also lowering our target from 293 to 267. Okay. Wells Fargo analyst Colin Langan writes, no more rose-colored glasses. It says, not only was Cybertruck ramp tempered, but Tesla is waiting on a macroeconomic improvement before going full tilt on its Mexico plant. He added, Tesla is building its next assembly. Oh, he added. So yes, we'll talk about that way more in this afternoon's call. The afternoon's episode. He says it was a lot of less than good news for investors to digest. Langan cut his price target to 250 from 260 a share and maintained his hold rating on the stock. Citi analyst Ite Mashali rates shares a hold as well. He cut his price target to 255 from 271. He says a somewhat worse outcome versus our previewed neutral to slightly negative setup is how he characterized the report. The tone of the conference call was noticeably more cautious. Tactically, we prefer staying on the sidelines, pending a more convincing entry point with a visible near-term fundamental catalyst. Then there's Dan Ives, of course, who was a bull. The downbeat tone of the call was noticed by more than just Machali. Wedbush analysts called it a mini disaster. The street wanted to get their arms around the falling margins and constant price cuts seen globally, but instead, we heard a much more cautious Musk. Ives rates buy, but cut his price target to 310 from 350. RBC analyst Tom Narian rates shares a buy. He cut his price target to 301 from 305. He had a more bullish take on the quarter. Investors missing the forest for the trees, he wrote. Duh. He has an interesting idea that he believes people might be missing. Investors will likely focus their attention on the cautious commentary on 2024 and the potential delay of the next-gen product, but we suspect this could be all part of a master pivot from a volume car maker to becoming a tier one supplier to automakers. Narian believes Tesla will eventually morph into a supplier of power electronics, batteries, charging, and driver assistance software. Maybe for now, investors are focused on the car business. There was so much good news in the information yesterday that I got that special report coming to you right around 11 PDT. You don't want to miss it. If you want to see it sooner, you can go up on Patreon and check it out. Now, normally, I'd expect Tesla to be down and stay down for a few days. However, the street understood this call way better than expected. Don't you think so? Let me know in the comments below. I thought that these analyses were way better than most of the analyses we've seen in prior quarters. So we might see some eager buyers coming in this morning. Let's see where we are here at 654. All right, we're down 744. So that means overall we're down about 8.5 based on the call. But the tide has turned again. We're starting to move slightly back up again. The overall market is neutral to up just a tiny bit. So the NASDAQ is up 0.22. Dow is flat. S&P is up 0.09. And again, Tesla down 7.47. Let's turn those into numbers instead. The Dow is now up $3. The NASDAQ up $30. The S&P is up $4. And Tesla is down $18. The Magnificent Seven are all up relatively nicely this morning. And the Cathie Woods are mixed, very, very mixed, but very neutral. Mixed, but very neutral. Okay, let's look at the underlying numbers. What's happening underneath all of this? You have got the Bitcoin up nicely this morning, 28.5. You've got the dollar slightly up this morning, neutral to up. You've got gold down, but more neutral, only down $2. You've got oil down half a buck to 87.83. And then you've got the bonds staying in there at 4.934. Let's look at the 2-month is down. We've got the 2-year is down almost a basis point. but the 10-year up it's 3.5 basis points. Now it's 3. All right, we're sitting at 3. So it's actually moving slightly downward even as we speak right now. All right, let's take another just quick look to see if Tesla has moved in any particular direction. Still sitting about where it was. Okay, so you know it is time for you to become a Patreon, a time to become part of the group. I am thinking of adding YouTube memberships. Okay, so maybe later today I'll get that done. I've been thinking about it for a while. Maybe I'm going to add that too. I've thought about the Twitter thing as well. We'll see. That's probably going to take me longer before I get to that, the Twitter subscriptions. But we have to find ways to keep this channel monetized because advertising revenues are dropping a bit. So not mine, I'm saying overall. So what we want to look at is you could support the channel, as many have done the last few days, now that I've got these specials going on. So the special right now is you get 1 still for $25. You get 2 for $45. You can get 4 for $90. And then you can get 10 for $225. If you're outside the country, I have to raise that price. I shipped a couple of those yesterday. It was a little more expensive than I thought. It would normally cost you, for 4 of them, would cost you $90 on the special, plus the extra 20, but I'll cut that 20 to 15. So it's $105 if you want to get 4. Please let me know camo or regular. Okay, does all that make sense? This is the ongoing special that I'm running right now because I save a little freight when I ship more than 1. Okay, so $25, still $29.95 on Amazon. They're selling very nicely on Amazon for $30, so it's already a deal. And then you get an even better deal if you buy more than 1. And lots of people have been stepping up and buying 3 and 4 and 12 and 15. So, it's a great gift. You're getting really close to Christmas now, guys. Come on, that, see, 95% of this audience is men. Almost all of you are over 55, and even a higher percentage is over 45. The young folks, where are the young folks? Tell your children and grandchildren they should be watching this channel. So anyway, no, we're all old, okay? A bunch of gray hairs here on this channel, and we're men, and so we don't make our purchase decisions on Christmas and other gifts until the day before, and sometimes not even then. So buy yourself 3, 4, 5, 10 of these things, and you'll have a lot of Christmas gifts taken care of. All right, let's see. What else is there to say? Oh, yeah, I'm getting the news out every day on Patreon. It's only $5 a month. You're going to get the news 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. I'm going to send you something if it's really breaking and hot. So you can do that even if you don't want a Cybertruck bottle opener and refrigerator magnet that comes in a great box. This is the box. Here's the box. It's a really great box. Anyway, you might want to join Patreon at the $5 level just to get that breaking news all day long, and it will always be Tesla or stock market specific related. Anyway, and I also throw up stuff that I'm just happen to be thinking about during the day, and sometimes I put up videos early, as I did yesterday, putting up the video that'll be up today at 11 o'clock. All right, let's see. As always, at the very, very end. Oh, listen. Oh, what was yesterday? Oh, yeah, I did an amazing video yesterday. I'll put the card up there. That was yesterday around 11 o'clock. I'm thinking about the last night, my conversation with Larry Goldberg. You want to see that one? That's the one that you'll see the card for. And all right, let's see. One last try. One last look here, just real quick. About the same, down about $19. That is 7.83%. So it is continuing down this morning. Really be interesting, and the market is still staying there, kind of neutral, trying to decide which way to go. All right. See you at 11. Don't miss that show. It's been great talking to you.